It is that time, Kyle. It is Ocho season 6. Don't let the outdated logo confuse you. This is the season 6 playoff preview. That's what I get for using the old template. Uh, and it's the most exciting time of the season. It's time to get down to business. Pool Boy Trivia Team last night defeated their challengers to clinch the last spot, so we know who will be in the playoff field. But tonight we get to learn who will be playing who. Before we get to that, though, we have to go over the individual awards from this season and honor the best of the best. So we're going to start off with something new. This is what we're calling the all Ocho teams, like as in all American teams. This is just based purely on statistics, the top 9 scorers in the league. So first team all Ocho, Alex finished as the top point scorer in the year after he put up 13 points last week, which I believe is the all-time high for a game. I came in second, and Footer rounds out the first team. On the second team, we have Neil, we have Vigran, and we have Steven Botchner. And then for the honorable mention team, we have Spencer, we have Steven Constantakes, and we have Petey. So Spencer and Petey, the only people on this list whose team failed to make the playoffs. So they can't do it alone, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any shout outs here? Anyone who you're like, even though they're not listed, I'm putting them on my personal all Ocho team anyways.
Um, Noah. Uh, I haven't looked at the stats in a while. I think he beat me in points per game. Uh,
Probably.
yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm a bit surprised that Spencer's is not even in the top six. But I have mine a bit of a down year, so maybe it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. Yeah, the Stevens are killing it. Stevens are doing well.
Yeah, Steven from the Macabros is like the next person too. So like yeah, 30% of the top 10 scores in the league are Stevens. So yeah, it's good time to be a Steven Botchner being on the second team, I think, is particularly impressive considering he basically gets all of his points from like 3 categories. Um, but anyway, we'll move on. Now we have the season 6 awards. So just going in reverse order. So first up, we have the niche of the year. This was a very tight voting between The Office and the winner, which was Rogers Personas.
Uh,
Thank you very much, everyone. Well deserved, if I say so myself. Um, and next, we have the Niche Player of the Year. And although he didn't win Niche of the Year, Preston wins Niche Player of the Year for The Office. So essentially the equivalent award. So congrats to Preston. Well deserved. You had him on for a breakout year, and that kind of happened with at least his niche prowess. So you can pat.
yeah, they've been really leaning more into Preston niches, and I think it's been a welcome addition.
Yeah, well said. All right, next up we have the most improved, which is Jack Miller. Pretty much a no-brainer, I think. Like out of all the awards, that one's the most obvious. He really stepped it up this year in Calvin's absence. Okay, next we have Rookie of the Year. Nick Panagakis won this award, despite the fact that he came in last in the entire league in scoring. Um, I imagine that's because that one good game he had was the week that voting was conducted. So I think that was on everyone's mind when he had like 3 points or whatever. So big for him. Admittedly, the other candidate was Nick Smith, who is really not a rookie because he played a full season on another team. So we can just say that Nick P wins by default. So condolences to Nick Smith and to Jim, I guess technically, who wasn't actually on the ballot, but he probably would have
Yeah,
won.
I'm. Did Jim lead in total points among those three?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And next we have second man of the year. This is Brian from Mentally Illest. Congrats to Brian. Narrowly shaved out Leaf by 1 vote for this award. And really, it was about time that we as a league put a stop to Leaf winning a billion individual awards. So congrats to Brian. Well deserved. He was at the time of voting the highest second man scorer. I believe he actually got passed by Leaf, but nonetheless, I think he deserves it. Mentally Illest had a really good season, so yeah, no complaints there. And we get to the final individual award, which is the most valuable player. And despite the fact that we had the worst season we've ever had, I was nominated the MVP, even though Alex also had more points than me. Um, as commissioner, I don't feel as though I can accept the MVP award, so I will be gifting it to Neil because I think the only thing funnier than Neil never winning the MVP award is Neil getting named MVP, even though he wasn't the leading vote getter on a technicality. So congratulations, Neil. You are the MVP of season 6 of the Ocho, regardless of what this slide says. Neil Dave.
Yes,
Um,
I feel I first for you. I feel like an MVP was overdue. Now that we have individual stats, they could see the burden that you bear carrying my stupid ass. So I think it was deserved, and I think you should accept it. But sure, give it to Neil for the meme.
oh wow, Oregon scored in like 30 seconds. Okay, we have a game on our hands. But anyway, yes. So congrats, Neil. Lastly, we have the Commissioner's Trophy, which is just goes to the team that is like like a very good boon to the league and their presence, and we appreciate them. And we've gone with mentally illest for this because always engaged. They always have a lot of availability. Steven watches like every single game, so shout out to him on that. And then, of course, he passed the baton to Jim, who's a fan favorite. So they've offered a lot to the league, and they had a really good season. So mentally illest, even if you don't win the playoff trophy, you at least won this, which a lot of teams say is even better. So there you go. Okay, Qualls. Now we are ready to move on to the playoff matchups. Um, I'd love to hear your predictions. For those who don't know, nobody knows who's playing who except for myself, and I guess the Chicken Hawks know who they're playing because they got the first pick. Um, so yeah, in order it goes Chicken Hawks, Hypnotoads, us, and then Chop House. So I'd love to hear if you have any bold predictions about who maybe Chicken Hawks or Hypnotoads would have taken or who they should have taken, etc.
Yeah. The one thing I know for certain is that Chicken Hawks will not pick Hive Mind. I, I'm curious. I'm leaning Macabros for this because although they really should have won their division, they were statistically not great. And Leaf loves numbers, so I'm thinking Macabros first.
Okay. Well, let's find out. So we'll reveal the matchups of the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 4 seed, and then the 1 seed. Flip the last two actually, but that just keeps everyone guessing on who if we do it in that order. Okay. So it is finally time for the season 5 selection show. As I said, those are the 4 teams that got to pick their opponents out of the 4 at-large bids. As everyone remembers, the first round will be a standard 10 category game, and the semifinals and the final will be 15 categories. Top 4 teams chose their opponents in order of season. Things to look out for, could we have a round 3 against Pool Boy Trivia Team? Could there be a holy war between the Hypnotoads and the Macabros in the first round? We will find out right now. So, first up, we have the Bob Odenkirk region. So that will be hosted by the Hypnotoads in honor of Ethan's complete bullshit category that he gave us. The Hypnotoads are the 2 seed. It's their best season ever. First time ever being the 2 seed. And they will be matched up against Pool Boy Trivia Team. Maybe some saying maybe the most dangerous of all the wildcards, Qualls.
Yeah. Despite Vigran's kind of like, I feel like he had kind of a rocky start, and yet he winds up as the 5th leading scorer. And Pool Boy Trivia Team had their 6 and 8 had a lot of narrow losses early on, and then really came on strong at the end. Had to do a lot to barely make the playoffs. So definitely dangerous. I'm curious who was picked first. If I feel like this is the most balanced playoff field we've had. There really are no good picks for a first round matchup. So there are reasons to pick any team, but yeah, I'm a little surprised that they were picked this early.
Yeah. Okay. So we will move on to the next region, which is the Zoroastrian region, named after me screwing up that question against the Macabros that made us lose the game. Although I maintain that we would have lost anyways, so it didn't actually matter. So the 3 seed in this year's playoffs is yours truly, Lick My Claws, fresh off our worst regular season ever by a wide distance, with a new teammate in tow. Now we did start off 0-2, and if you take those games out, then it was our typical 10-4 season, including a game to Washington where arguably they didn't submit their form on time, but we let it slide. So it could have been worse, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
And Walls, you are now learning that in the first round we will play Frank Chester
Oh,
United making their second ever playoff appearance. They also played us in their other playoff appearance, so they always play us in the first round. How do you feel about this? Because I don't feel great.
I don't feel great either. They're the only team in the league that has not beaten us, so there is that. But they've looked really good this season. Like they've always been a team that we thought had a lot of potential but hasn't lived up to it. This season they really did. I mean we're both 8-6, correct? Like we have the same record, and so who's to say who's better? But I guess that's what the playoffs are for. We'll decide that.
Yeah, true. And normally, like we traditionally smash them in the regular season, and like it's been a running joke with them in going into games. But this year, they only lost to us by like 1 point, so they're
Yeah.
creeping
Yeah.
closer, and that is not a promising sign for us. But nonetheless, that'll be the matchup, and we'll hope for the best, as will they. And we move on to the Power Tools region from Cam's Milwaukee Power Tools niche that he is yet to get correct. We'll see if they whip that out in the first round of the playoffs. I doubt it. The 1 seed is the Chicken Hawks, obviously, with the season leading point scorer in Alex, the top second man point scorer in Leaf, and the top Giroux twin scorer in Cam. So a very powerful team. Um, they had first pick, so whichever team they picked, that's the team that should feel the most disrespected because out of all the options, Chicken Hawk said, I want you. And the team that is would be the Macabros. You called it, Qualls.
Yeah.
Like you said, no good picks, but they did get picked
No
first.
good, no good picks. Yeah, Macabros 7-7. An unusually weak Barker division this year. Macabros, were able to win games despite having, not as good stats, but winning games is all that matters in the end. But I'm assuming they looked at those stats and said that's what we want.
Well said, yes. And of course, they did blow the game against Chop House. That could have seen them win the division. Um, and for
Yeah,
that, they're punished by having to face the number 1 seed in the first round.
they,
So,
they go from the 4 seed to the 8 seed
yeah.
with that one like 2 round window.
Yep, that's a tough scene there. Okay, so that means that in the ejected region, after Primos was the first person to be thrown out of a game for the 4 seed Chop House, who have been the 4 seed every single season we've ever played this league, except for one where they were the 3 seed. So they're incredibly consistent. Um, I mean, halfway through the season, it was like not even halfway, like 3 weeks ago, there was a chance they wouldn't make the playoffs at all,
Yeah.
and they end up back in their rightful place as the 4 seed. Last year's finalists, second place finishers, they were stuck as they always are in the way we've done this with the last pick, the strongest team according to the other teams, and that would be mentally illest, of course, with Jim instead of Steven, a little bit of a new look, but still just as good.
Yeah, so Chop House got off to very similar kind of season to Pool Boy. They started off poorly with a lot of very close losses, and then were able to turn it around. Mentally ill is this is their best season. They 8-6, so same record as us. We only won the division on tiebreakers, which wasn't a huge advantage for us either. And some could argue that mentally illness is even better with now that they have Jim. So very, yeah, Chop House statistically, again, they're 7-7, but statistically, like I think they're like second in points per game. I think they're like third in question percentage. So this is going to be a very exciting matchup. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, on paper, probably the best matchup in terms of the relative strength of both teams. So, I mean, it's the 4-5, so you would expect it to be the most even. I think they'll all be very even, but man, this one is it particularly jumps out at you. Okay, so that is the first round of the playoffs, and now we can take a look at the season 6 playoff bracket. I was once again too lazy to change the template, but I did change the team, so at least I did something good. Um, so yeah, the Chicken Hawks playing the Macro Bros, as I just said. The winner of that will play Chop House Mentally Illest. On the other side, we have us against Franchester United. The winner plays the Hypnotoads and Pool Boy. What's interesting is that it feels like things are really shaken up from last season in terms of performance and stuff. But the top 4 seeds are the exact same, except we're just flipped with the Hypnotoads.
Yeah.
Although we do have two different teams in the playoffs this season. So now that you're looking at the bracket, we've talked about the first round matchups. Is there anything farther down the line that really like jumps out at you, or anything you'd like to see?
I would be very interested to see if we could get our first win against Pool Boy Trivia Team in the semifinals.
Yeah,
That would be again, Hypnotoad's defending champ, so no easy game there. But that's something I'd be looking forward to.
for sure. Yeah, and as we said, out of all the seasons we've ever done this is the most unpredictable. Any of these eight teams could win the title, and I would not even blink. Um, so yeah, there it is. Qualls,
Well,
thank you for joining me tonight.
maybe
Anything?
not. Maybe if Chicken Hawks won, I'd blink a little bit because
Yeah, the one seed is the only team that I wouldn't expect to win the championship.
yeah,
So that says a lot. All right, so I think that's about it. Unless Qualls, you have anything else to add? If not, we'll get this out to our loyal viewers.
yeah. Happy playoffing, everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, best of luck to everyone except all the teams that play us. I hope you lose by a lot. Uh, all right, Qualls. Well, I'll see you this week for our game as well as we'll both be hosting. So yeah, like you said, happy playoffs, everyone.